Hey everyone, it is Thursday the 30th, it's hard to believe, 30th day of January 2014, one day away from ending this month and going into the second month of the year. But I want to first of all kind of explain something to some people. Now I appreciate the comments and all that on my channel, especially my DCWA CAW League videos. But I want to explain something to VWAHD and several other people that may be suggesting to me to do the same thing or something similar. First of all, DCWA is called Downloadable CAW Wrestling Association. DCWA. Downloadable CAW Wrestling Association. That's what it is. And the difference between DCWA and several others out there, other CAW leagues, is with my CAW league, I do use the Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler commentary for the weekly, if not bi-weekly, airings or uploadings of DCWA Raw and DCWA Thunder. Now, the reason I do this, folks, and again, I appreciate your suggestions to try to do my own commentary, but the reason I do this is I live with family, and as much as I could probably do it during the day when they're not here, what I would have to do, and it might be a possibility, I'm not saying it isn't, but what I'd have to do is probably film the commentary when they're not here. The only problem, mind you, is I would have to take a VOB, which is basically what I do. Basically what I do, folks, and let me see if I can show you an example of what I'm talking about here. What I do is I take a DVD, a recordable disc like this. I take a recordable disc like this, right here. And what I do, folks, is I use my DVD recorder, which is a Sony DVD recorder. I hook up the audio-video cables, the audio-video cables, the A and Bs. And what I do is, like I say, I hook them to the other outputs or inputs to the DVD recorder, and usually those outputs or inputs are in the front. I hook them up to that. I go to a channel known as line 2, and that's how I record my stuff. That's how I record my CAW League. And I've been doing that for quite some time, even before I started to do CAW Leagues. I would do that, because I'd see people here on YouTube sharing some of the matches, online matches, or basically sharing some of the matches they would do with the characters that they would create. So that's primarily how I do it. Now again, I appreciate the suggestions, but here's the problem. I would have to convert, and this is the honest truth, I would have to convert every single VOB, whether it's a long length VOB or short length VOB. I would have to, basically, folks, I would have to convert every single one of them into an AVI file. That's what I would have to do. I would have to convert them into an AVI file. Now, you might say, well, that's easy, Brian, just go and do it. Well, yeah, I could go and do it, but then again, here's the problem. I have all the means of doing the commentary like you said. But again, here's the problem. You see, every now and then, either once or twice a day, my family member will call and check in on things to make sure everything is fine. They'll ask what I'm doing, as if they want to know what I'm doing, or they kind of have an idea of what I'm doing, stuff like that. So they'll check in. Another thing is, I never know, again, I never know if I'm going to go to work with my brother-in-law. See, my brother-in-law has a pressure washing business, and sometimes he needs me there to operate certain equipment, like the suction vacuum to suck up the water. So he would need me to do that. And there are times where if he asks me to do that, he'll call me maybe the day before, or he'll call me early in the day and say, hey, can you do this, blah, blah, blah. So he'll call me up. He'll call me up to do that. And what's funny about that, and again, what's funny about that, folks, is he'll call me up, and basically by calling me up and telling me he's going to need me, one of the things he tells me to do is rest up. So what do? I go over here to this couch here, or back into my room, and I lay down for a couple of hours. I've been doing this lately, I set the alarm on my iPod so that I can get up in plenty of time to shower, maybe get something to eat, make some lunch to go, and that's it. Now again, you might say, well, Brian, how would that affect you anyway? Well, it's like I said, I would have to nap during the day. Now, again, not saying I couldn't do the commentary in the morning, but still, I kind of want to relax, check out things on the internet, see how things are going, stuff like that. Another thing as well, and this is kind of a personal issue, kind of a personal thing with me, is I can do the commentary and everything, set it right and all that, but then I've got my family. You see, I have certain nephews, if you will, that will show members of my family certain videos that I put up on YouTube. Now, I don't know if I'd be met positively or negatively or just with a mixed reaction or teasingly or whatever. But the last thing I need to have happen, folks, is to have at a family gathering one of my family members going like, so, when is your next commentary for your next wrestling thing going to happen? Now you might say, well, that's encouraging. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But maybe it is, maybe it's not. But then again, to me it sounds like, oh, they're just trying to tease me and all that. And so there's that. But again, as I'm trying to explain here, I understand and respect and appreciate the advice. But I do have a counter, if you will, to the whole Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler commentary. I do have a counter. You see what that counter is? Folks, is being able to do the CPVs. Like everybody else does a CPV, right? RPW, WDEF, VWAHD, you guys, and anybody else out there, CCL. We all do CPVs. Here's the thing about my CPV. I have a saying for it. I have a saying for it that differs it from the weekly or bi-weekly shows of Raw and Thunder. The saying is, for CPV, action speaks louder than words. In other words, I turn off the commentary and unfortunately the ring announcing to basically allow the actions to speak louder than the words. Now again, you might say, well, that's the opportunity you need. Yeah, it is, but again, it's just my preference. And here's the thing. we have two computers in this house. My computer is probably the oldest. Well, yeah, it is indeed the oldest, probably. And that there would take a long time, maybe it even would crash if I was to attempt to do it there. So more than likely, if I was to do commentary, I'd do it in there. But here's the problem. See, my family member at times likes to go on the computer. She likes to check her Facebook, she likes to check her email, she likes to post a saying on Facebook every once in a while. You know, things like that. She likes to know what's going on. You know, just be glad she doesn't know what Skype is yet, or else she'd probably be on there for a while. And also she's got schooling. She goes to school sometimes. Like next fall she'll be going back to school at Las Positas. So there are times where I have to step aside and I gotta help her out with finding out information that she needs, or if it's an online class, allowing her to go online and do what she has to do. So you see, there's a lot of factors that play into the whole situation. There's a lot of factors. Now, I understand how some of you do your shows, your weekly shows, your bi-weekly shows, your CPVs. I can understand how you do it. You separate. You probably do match by match, you edit it together, you separate them, and that's fine. That's probably a good way to go with it. But for me, I just stick to my guns. Yeah, I understand that the commentary may not be the best on WWE 2K14. But you know what? In closing, let me say this. I have noticed other CAW leagues that use the Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler commentary. I have noticed it. And they don't have a problem with that. I think I've noticed that SCAW, Superstars of Car Wrestling, I've noticed them using it. And you know why? Because probably just like me, they probably have the means to do their own commentary, but they don't want to have to go through the trouble, and maybe they too share a computer, if you will, around the house. But you kind of get where I'm getting at, folks. Not saying that I'm not considering doing commentary. I've strongly considered it. I have strongly considered it. It's just right now not a top priority. I mean, this is the way I look at it. When you hear Jerry Lawler or Michael Cole mention WWE in any of the sentences, just imagine, this is what I look at, just imagine them saying your CAWA's league's name. Your CAW League's name. Imagine them saying that. Imagine instead of them saying WWE, they're saying, you know, something like WDEF, or in place of WWE, imagine them saying something like WDEF, or SMF, or VWA, or DCWA in my case. But that's how I look at it. Yeah, like I said, the commentary may be annoying, but you know, it's just the way I work things. And again, the silver lining in all this is when it comes to my CPVs, the actions speak louder than the words. Now, I will let you know whenever I do have technical difficulties. Sometimes those technical difficulties, folks, when it comes to my DCWA shows or CPVs, either has to deal with the fact that the phone rings, I have to press pause simultaneously on both the controller and on the controller and on the remote control for the DVD recorder. Sometimes my family member will talk to me and ask me certain things, so I have to pause both simultaneously. So you might notice that at times. And also the fact that, you know, I will forget, I have forgotten, like with the Rumble, I will forget to take off the commentary deal for the CPV, and I will accidentally leave it on. Thus, the reason as to why I say thus the reason why I say in description sometimes, sorry for technical difficulties. But honestly, folks, that's just me. That's just my opinion as to, but again, well, it's not just my opinion. It's my opinion to do things the way I want to do them. But that's just how I do things with my CAW League, I should say. So, again, I appreciate all the advice and stuff, and I really do. But it's just the way how I roll with things with my CAW League. And I know I'm not the only one that does that with the CAW League. So, thank you again. I appreciate it. And comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any suggestions. And God bless. Take care. Comments are welcome.